Hi and welcome back to Dirt Bike Magazine's video series, The 19s, where we take you up close and personal with all the 2019 motocross models. Today, as you can see, we have our first chance to throw a leg over the 2019 Honda CRF450R. So for all the in-depth technical data, you can head over to dirtbikemagazine.com. We're just gonna run you through this really quick. So if you're looking at this motorcycle thinking it looks exactly like last year, you're halfway right. But this bike underneath has huge changes. It's almost a brand new motorcycle. So every Honda guy has asked for this for years, but it finally got black Dirt Star rims this year. It's got a new brake caliper up front, a new front brake line, revised fork settings internally, and on the top triple clamp has more adjustment with two different mounting holes for the handlebar mounts, similar to what we've seen on other manufacturers. There's a launch control device that is actually actuated from the starter button now. The main frame is all brand new, with the swing arm being new with a new peg design. The exhaust is new for 2019 as well, with a drastically different looking header design for improved performance. The subframe saw lots of changes to match the main frame. The rear sprocket was lightened up for 2019. Everything was designed to lighten the motorcycle up. And the bike comes spec'd out with Dunlop MX3S tires. So that's enough talking. We want to ride this thing. So stay tuned. Later in this video, we're going to give you our impression after the first day of testing. Okay, so first day of testing here at Cheney Ranch on the 2019 Honda CRF450R. Just finished up, learned a lot today about the new motorcycle. We got to ride both the Standard Edition and the Works Edition today. The Standard Edition suspension settings, we like the sag at about 107, 108 millimeters of sag in the rear. Once we got that sag set, we didn't really mess around with the shock a lot. Most test riders were happy with the way the action of it. Slowed the rebound down a couple clicks to kind of calm it down coming into corners and accelerating out of corners. In the front, we did a lot of work with, we ended up about 2 millimeters from the top of the being flush, and then we added some rebound to the front, probably about 2 or 3 clicks, and then added a couple clicks of compression to keep it up in the stroke so that it didn't dive down and pack. Engine-wise, you could definitely tell a difference between the mapping. The #1 map has a broader power range than the aggressive map. The aggressive map kind of hits hard down low and then kind of signs off really early. And then the mellow map just seemed to have a smooth delivery all the way through. We felt like we had to clutch it a little bit more. So most test riders preferred the standard map, just had to clutch it a little bit more off the bottom to get it moving. But once it got moving, it was good. Didn't get a lot of time with the launch control. It's actually kind of tough to understand. It's on the starter button now. So there will be more on that. We were a little bit pressed on time. The one thing that really surprised us about this year's motorcycle is the clutch. We've been complaining about the Honda clutch, it seems like, since 2009 now, and it hasn't really got any better. There's still a lack of feel. You don't have to use it as much anymore because the bike has a little bit more power. It's still definitely a weak point for this motorcycle. For the complete in-depth test on the 2019 Honda CRF450R, check out the October issue of Dirt Bike Magazine. And as always, head over to dirtbikemagazine.com for the latest off-road and motocross industry news. Have you seen the other 2019 motocross models we've tested? Check these out. and welcome back to Dirt Bike Magazine's video series, The 19s, where we take you up close and personal with all the 2019 motocross models. Today we're getting our first chance to ride the 2019 KX450. Yes, we said KX450 because Kawasaki has dropped the F. So the first thing that we know every Kawasaki owner is asking, what will transfer over from my 2018 and newer model to my 2019 model? Well, it's a really short list. And direct bolt-on items, about the only things that we've figured out that will fit are the front number plate and the front fender. Almost everything else has changed in some configuration or another. The bike features an all-new front braking system with the rear brake being larger than anything else on the market right now. Engine-wise, it's completely brand new. There's finger followers, there's electric start, there's hydraulic clutches, and all new cases. We'd like to say the big news chassis-wise is the all-new A-kit spring fork, but it's got a brand new frame, it's got a brand new swing arm, with an all-new exhaust designed to get the most power out of the new engine configuration while keeping it quiet. The front axle is larger in diameter than last year's model, so that makes the hub on the front wheel different than last year's model. Like we said, styling-wise, the front number plate and the front fender are the same. From their back, they're completely different. It's got a brand new tank, a brand new side access airbox. You don't have to take the seat off to get the air filter out anymore. Brand new radiator shrouds, brand new rear fender, brand new seat. The bike features brand new peg design, brand new peg hangers that are lighter weight and a wider design. 2019 model does retain the adjustability that we like so much. It's got adjustable triple clamps, 4 different bar positions with the adjustable peg mounts as well. With all the changes that Kawasaki made, we're kind of surprised that they didn't go to an oversized bar or change the grip design, because that is something we did not like in the past. Kawasaki has been one of the standouts using Bridgestone tires. This year they switched to Dunlop tires and they come with the MX3S versions. So instead of going crazy with giving you guys technical specs, you can go to dirtbikemagazine.com for all that stuff. We're excited, we're ready to ride. And stay tuned for some feedback after our first day of testing. Okay, so first day of testing done on the 2019 Kawasaki KX450, and we're really impressed. We noticed that the suspension actually does work a lot better than last year. It has more of a balance feel, and in the front, the spring fork actually soaks up the little chop going in and out of corners really well. For me personally, the spring rate might be a little bit on the soft side, but everybody was unanimous in the fact that it is better than last year's model. All the test riders agreed today that the bike does have a more aggressive power this year. It definitely revs on top. The hydraulic clutch is awesome. Kawi didn't have any major issues with the clutch on last year's model, but having a hydraulic clutch this year, I actually found myself using it a little too much. But everyone does agree having a light clutch pull is better than last year as well. Kawasaki still offers multiple couplers for the motorcycle. It comes with a green coupler, that's what we call the standard coupler, and then a black coupler that is a little bit richer, and then a white coupler naturally being a little bit leaner. Some riders like the standard, some riders like the black coupler. The black coupler kind of calms it down just a little bit right off bottom, making it a little bit easier to ride all the way around. For me personally, one big difference that I did on the bike was I moved the handlebars in the position forward and turned the mounts around backwards. It gave me a little bit more room to play around. I didn't have to run my bar position as far forward, and it actually let me get over the front of the bike a little bit more, and it gave me better front end traction so I can charge a little bit harder. So the brakes on the 2019 model are definitely more aggressive than the 2018 model. The front is a lot stronger. To be honest, we didn't notice very much about the rear, but the track was tilled pretty deep today, so once we do a little bit more riding at other places, we might be able to feel the added size of the rear rotor. So the only thing that has us scratching our head about having Kawasaki introducing an all-new motorcycle is there's still small diameter Renthal bars and the grips. Again, this is our first day of testing on the 2019 KX450. We plan on putting a lot more time in on testing this and putting it up against all the other 450s in its class. Stay tuned to dirtbikemagazine.com for updates. Do you want to see what the Dirt Bike Magazine staff thought of the 2019 KTM 250 SXF and 350 SXF? Here's your chance. Hi, I'm Mark Tilley from Dirt Bike Magazine. Today we're getting our first chance to ride the 2019 Yamaha YZ450F. We're not going to bore you with any technical details. You can go to the website to look for that stuff. We're not going to bore you with our first day of riding impressions. We're just going to give you this thing raw. see some more of our raw video series? Check these out.
I'm Josh Hansen, out here at Paris Raceway, testing out the Transworld 2019 Suzuki 450. Myself being already on a Suzuki riding the 2018, it was cool to get to try out the 19 today. It's kind of a lot like the 18. I noticed that, you know, the 18, always the Suzuki, the best thing about them is their turning. And so easy to get into to the corners. The 18 and the 19 I feel are pretty similar. The motor-wise is super easy, super mellow. I love that about it. Very easy to ride. I mean, I don't know, I really enjoy it. It's maybe not the fastest bike, but it's definitely a bike that you can definitely do what you want with it, and it's easy to do. As far as suspension, they came out with a little bit different settings for the new shock. I felt like I could kind of get my bike a little bit better balance-wise. I went a little bit stiffer on the forks, and also went flush with my forks and the clamps. That kind of helped my front end kind of stay a little bit more up, and I noticed that my back end was kind of overriding my front end, so that's what I did to kind of improve that, and also mess with the sag a little bit. Went down to 108, kind of mess with that just to kind of bring it down a little bit to just try to get that kind of good feeling. The Suzuki, as far as the motor, it's basically, I feel like it's the 18. It's really easy and manageable to ride, and for a consumer, I think that's everything. You know, anything you do, if you were to get onto the trails to being on an outdoor track, to a supercross track, to anything, even to be on a street, if you will, like, it's just got really usable, manageable power. So that's something that I really liked about it. As far as the handling of the Suzuki cornering, that's one of my favorite things I've always enjoyed about a Suzuki, was being able to corner the thing. I really love the feeling of the Suzuki and the way it corners. It's definitely night and day difference comparison to a lot of the bikes I've ridden. So it definitely has never lost that feel. We have a lot more for this 19, so stay in tune with this whole Transworld motocross, what comes next.
You've tuned in to an episode of Motocross Action's first ride video of the 2019 KTM 450 SXF. This bike is not totally new, as we saw the 2018 and a half factory edition that had the new frame, the new bodywork, and the updated engine, as well as suspension. The 2019 is just a finely tuned version of the 2018 factory edition. Everything is definitely better than the 18 version. It has a new airbox, new frame, new chassis, new suspension, new chop triple clamp. Pretty much the whole bike is pretty new. It's the same frame, although it is stiffer. Why change something that isn't broken? We're not going to bore you with all the in-depth details. If you want to know that, there's a link in the description for you to find out. And stay tuned to the end of the video for our first impression of the 2019 KTM 450 SXF. We just spent the day at Glen Helen shaking down the 19 450 SXF, and if there's anything we've learned in the last few years, the new 48mm WP air forks, is that KTM always sets the pressure way higher than any mere mortal can really break through. Not really sure why they do that. Maybe liability purposes, people overjump and jumps, but as far as me, I'm a bigger guy, pro level. I always run a lot softer air pressure and way out of compression. Stock air pressure I think was 152. I automatically told David O'Connor, hey, set it at 147, just a round estimate, and then I went all the way out of compression, and it felt incredible. It absorbed the bumps, it was really plush, definitely a big upgrade even from last year. Rides a little higher in the stroke. If when its air pressure is too stiff, it's hard to break through that crust. So going a little softer on the air pressure and compression lets it break through there. The shock, I left it all to stock. I went to 105 and the bike was perfectly balanced. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than the KTM. It's the lightest and most powerful bike. However, for 2019, the power felt really muted off the bottom. I felt like there needed to be a gearing change or map change. Something needed to happen, and I learned from testing the 19 250 SXF that it had the same problem. And I know they went to a smaller airbox, and it looks like the vent to it's a little further forward. When I took the airbox cover off the 250, it really opened it up, kind of like we had to do with the Huskies last year, and made it into a totally different bike. So when I had that problem, at first I tried the maps. Map 1, standard map, map 2 is aggressive, and actually map 1 most people like. It actually had more bottom to mid, where the aggressive, which is a lot longer power band, res further. So actually, for me, I would call map 1 aggressive and 2 more standard, kind of whatever you like more, but more testers tended to like map 1. So for the 450, the airbox, we just took the airbox cover right off, which we don't recommend doing because the air filter would come out, just to see if that was a problem. And lo and behold, that was a huge issue. I can ride in third gear. I didn't have to shift down anymore. I didn't have to clutch it out of corners anymore. The airboxes must be really closed off or really small for 2019. For a 250, we drilled a lot of holes in it, but the first thing I would do, you get a new bike, it lags off the bottom. Try the air cover off, don't do any big jumps, and see if that's what you're looking for. It was our shootout winner last year, and that with all the updates this year, it's definitely going to be a competitor with the new Kawi and Yamaha with the updates they made this year. Obviously, this is the first day of testing. We had some time with this bike more than others because we had some time with the factory edition late last year, but we're going to get this test in the future issue of MXA, and obviously check out our website, motorcrossactionmag.com. We have all the updates and new products as well as news on there, so check it out.